We've got a pivotal game 4 between the Boston Celtics and New York Knicks and the Minnesota Timberwolves and Golden State Warriors. And I've got a player prop from every team from each of those two games. My name's CJ Curry. Thank you so much for joining me in another video. We're looking at NBA player props on today's Monday NBA playoff slate. Appreciate everybody who's already subscribed to the channel as we continue to march toward 30K subs. Appreciate everyone for all the love and support. Let's hit the like button on today's video. Let's try to get about 100 likes on today's video. You think we could get 100 or more? I think we could do it. There's plenty of you that watch this video. Don't sit on your hands. Hit the like button for me. It helps grow the channel. I appreciate you in advance. And of course, we have to pick somebody from our last video. Now, our last video was Tuesday. Took a little bit of a break from YouTube. Stayed out of these YouTube streets, but we're back, and I wanted to go ahead and bless somebody with a free month of Dub Club, and that winner is David Martinez -HU3XC. I don't know if that's necessary or not, but congratulations to you. He was liking Draymond Green over 6.5 rebounds, and Green did go over 6.5 rebounds back on Tuesday in that game. So all you have to do now, David, is go down to the link in the description of today's video, that Discord link. Join the free Discord. Then once you're inside there, shoot me a DM, message me, and I will set you up with a free Dub Club link where you'll get all the picks, plays, and parlays over the next 30 days sent to you for free via Discord. And of course, we're posting helpful stats and information, trying to help each other win more together. And boy, do we need the help, because these NBA playoffs have been absolutely difficult to bet on. But hopefully today's video finds more winning picks than losing ones. So let's go ahead and get into some of the things that I've found. Starting with the earlier game, which is the Boston Celtics and New York Knicks. Got to go with Karl Anthony Towns. A couple different ways to play Karl Anthony Towns. You could take just the rebounds if you wanted to, or if you wanted to go rebounds plus assists, I couldn't fault you for that either. I think those are sitting at like 13.5, I want to say. So he's been hitting these both of these props at a pretty high clip in this series. Let's see, did they just bump it? All right, I think they bumped it. So we'll just stick with the rebounds. He's been hitting the 12 rebounds or better in a majority of these games against the Boston Celtics. Celtics haven't really found a way to kind of slow him down. His scoring has been very inconsistent, Karl Anthony Towns, so I don't really trust him as far as getting buckets. But one thing that he's been rock solid on is just grabbing rebounds. So let's take a look at this one. We'll go over to the RotoWire tool. This tool's really great. They've built it out for PrizePicks. It works for Underdog, Pick Six, Sleeper, FanDuel, DraftKings, BetMGM, BetRivers, and a whole bunch of other sports books. So if you're interested in trying this out, they've got 6-month and 12-month discounts for you guys who want to lock in for 6 and 12 months. 25% off when you use promo code CJ Curry. I've left a link for you down in the description of today's video. But taking a look at Karl Anthony Towns here for these rebounds. Again, he's at 12 boards. This has been something that he's been doing really well lately. He's got a 4-game hit streak. He's redevoted his life to getting back on these rebounds. 15 against Detroit in that final game of that series. But the last 3 against Boston in this series, 13 rebounds, 17 rebounds, and 15. So 12 boards just doesn't seem quite high enough for a guy who's pulled in 13, 17, and 15. You go back and look at previous games versus Boston. This was outside of this playoff series. I mean, 18 rebounds back on February the 23rd. April 8th, 14 rebounds there. So just been doing an excellent job here of clearing 12 boards. So, you know, we don't need him to get 18 or 17, but even if he lands on 12 or 13 rebounds, I mean, we'd be pretty happy with either one of those results. He's projected for about 13.1 rebounds according to the RotoWire projection tool. So we like that projection. It's more than 1 rebound higher than his line at just 12 boards today. Taking a look at some of the other projections for Karl Anthony Towns, let's go over to Fantasy Labs. Fantasy Labs has Towns right around 12 rebounds, which would be a tie or a push. At 11.5 boards, he's a pretty big betting favorite to clear 11.5, so they kind of expect him to land on at least 12 rebounds. But obviously, as I showed you from previous game logs, there's definite upside here for him to clear 12 rebounds and land on 13, 14, or more rebounds if things are going his way. Take a look at the shot quality projection for Karl Anthony Towns. They've got him projected for about 11.9 rebounds, close to 12 boards, so he's going to be right around that 12 rebound number. Take a look at Line Star in this case. Line Star has him projected for a total of 15.2 rebounds. So 3.2 rebounds higher than where his line is sitting at just 12 boards over on PrizePicks. So been very consistent. Like I said, grabbing that 12 rebound or higher number. So like what I'm seeing there from Karl Anthony Towns. The next guy is a bench player, arguably the best bench player in the NBA. I'm talking about Peyton Pritchard of the Boston Celtics. I didn't see a lot that I loved on the Celtics side. Some of the lines seem kind of inflated on guys like Derek White, who have been pretty solid. But I ended up landing on Peyton Pritchard for at least 3 field goal makes. Now, these can be 2-pointers. These can be 3-pointers, all right? It doesn't matter if he's making 2s or 3s as long as he's making shots. This is all the different types of field goal makes all rolled into one here. So we need him to make at least 3 shots tonight, and he's been doing so at a pretty decent rate versus the New York Knicks in this series. So let's take a look at this. I pulled this one up over on RotoWire because you can't really find these on any other sites outside of PrizePicks. So that's where this RotoWire tool really comes into play here. Now, a lot of Peyton Pritchard player props are lean more options according to the RotoWire tool. So things like his points, rebounds, and assists, his points and assists, and of course the field goal makes. Here's the points and rebounds at 12.5, or just the points at 9.5. So they expect Peyton Pritchard to get buckets tonight, does RotoWire. So let's pop open the field goal makes and take a closer look at this one. He's projected for about 3.83 field goal makes. So they do have him leading more than 3 field goal makes in this game. For the 2024 season, he's made 3 or more field goals at a 77% clip. That's a pretty darn good success rate. He's currently riding a 4-game streak, coming off of a game where he had 8 field goal makes against the New York Knicks in that last one. Again, we don't need him to have 8. That was a pretty big game for him, but if he has, 4 or 5 field goal makes, then we're happy campers. Now, as far as the away games go, he's hit this in about 60% of the games played on the road away from Boston, so pretty decent hit rate for the season overall. And then against the New York Knicks, currently riding a 4-game hit streak where he's had at least 3 field goal makes or more against the New York Knicks in 4 straight. Also, if you want to go back and look at some of these previous matchups, he's now hit 3 or more field goal makes in 5 out of his last 7 head-to-heads versus the New York Knicks. So he does a pretty good job against the Knicks in terms of making shots. So that's what we need him to do tonight, is make some shots. Let's check out some other projections. We're going to go over to shot quality for this one. Peyton Pritchard's field goal make projection, he's projected for about 1.2 2-point makes and about 2.06 3-point makes. So that puts him at around 3.26 total field goal makes, which might be closer to a tie or a push, but slightly over 3. So we're okay with that projection. We'll also check out this one. This is FanDuel's research, formerly known as NumberFire. A lot of you guys are familiar with NumberFire, who have watched my videos in the past, but they have him projected for about 4 field goal makes today. So they do have him going over by at least 1 whole field goal make at a total of 4. And of course, his line is only 3 over on PrizePicks. So there's pick number 2. All right, going over to the other game, the later game, the Golden State Warriors and Minnesota Timberwolves. I'm going to start things off here with Buddy Hield. Buddy looking like a pretty decent play for a lot of different player props. There was a couple different ones that I liked. I liked the 15.5 points and assists, but it's been bumped up to 16.5. I think a good pivot for him could potentially be his field goal makes at 5. Let's take a look at this one. We'll go over to RotoWire. He's got to make at least 5 shots, and of course he's been doing that at a pretty high clip, especially since Steph Curry's been out. But take a look at the projection over on RotoWire. They've got him projected for 6.10 field goal makes. Again, these can be 2-pointers or 3-pointers, doesn't matter, as long as the ball's going through the net. The last 4 times that he's taken the floor, he has hit 5 or more field goal makes in 4 straight games. So 12 against Houston to close out that series. And then against Minnesota, 7, 5, and 5. So he's 3 for 3 against the Timberwolves in this current series. And if you look at all the head-to-heads versus Minnesota, he's now hit 5 or more in 4 straight, and 5 out of the last 6 meetings versus the T-Wolves. So does a pretty good job when he plays against Minnesota in terms of making shots, does Buddy Hield. So this one looking like a pretty good option, a pivot play off of that 15.5 points and assists since they decided to bump the line up on us. Now we got to go get some other projections for Buddy Hield and see how he's lining up on some of these other projection models. So if we go over here to shot quality, they've got him at about 1.8 2-point makes and about 3.4 3-point makes, which means total projection of about 5.2 total field goal makes. So pretty decent projection there when you kind of add everything up there. Not too bad for Buddy Hield. Again, he could land on 5, just like Peyton Pritchard could potentially tie, but I'm not too concerned about that. Let's get you another projection. We're going to go over to fantasy or FanDuel Research, I should say. FanDuel Research. And we open up Buddy Hield's player projection card over there. They've got him projected for about 5.1 field goal makes. So again, could tie, could push, but if it does, then that just means that your 6 pick becomes a 5 pick, 5 becomes 4, etc. It just reverts down to the next entry size. So Buddy Hield at 5 field goal makes, looking like one way that you could go on there. And then the very last pick of today's video, we're going to stick with these field goal attempts, in this case 3-point attempts for Dante DiVincenzo of the Minnesota Timberwolves. He's been doing a good job of shooting threes in a large majority of the games. His line is at 5 3-point attempts. Now again, these are attempts, these are not makes. Doesn't have to make them, just has to take them. He could shoot them, and whether they go in or not doesn't affect this prop. Just needs to get shots up from beyond the arc, and he's done so at a pretty high rate in this series and against this matchup with the Golden State Warriors. So 5 is the number. Let's go take a look at some info on RotoWire for Dante DiVincenzo. He's coming off of a little bit of a down game, but as you can see, RotoWire's liking him to go over for most of his props today. That could be the PRA, that could be the PR, the PA, and of course the 5 3-point attempts. So let's take a closer look at this one. We pop open his player projection card. RotoWire's got him all the way up at 5.8 3-point attempts, so close to 6 3-point attempts. When you take a look at what he's done in the 2024 season, 87% of the games that he's played in, he's had at least 5 3-point attempts. So he's done a really good job of shooting the ball from beyond the arc, averaging right around 7 3-point attempts per game. Now, when he plays on the road, still holds a pretty good hit rate on the road. 84% of the games played away from Minnesota, he's had at least 5 3-point attempts, 7.5 3-point attempts per game on average playing away. And against Golden State, well, he's done a really good job against Golden State head-to-head, historically speaking. Of course, he was once a Golden State Warrior himself, so maybe there's a little bit of a chip on his shoulder when he plays against his former team, but 89% hit rate. That's 9 games. 8 out of 9 games, he's had at least 5 3-point attempts versus Golden State. Again, in that last game, just two days ago on May the 10th, he only had 2 3-point attempts. So I expect him to hopefully bounce back from that. Hopefully this isn't a new sort of pattern forming for him. Hopefully he reverts back to what he has done in the past with 12, 8, 5, 8, 6, 12, 7, and 8 3-point attempts. Like to see Dante DiVincenzo get back to chucking it up from beyond the arc. So projection here, 5.8. Let's get some other projections on Dante DiVincenzo and send you guys on your way. This projection over on shot quality, 5.34 3-point attempts. So slightly higher than 5, but again, if it ties or pushes, we won't be too mad at that. It's better than taking an L and having a red mark in our slips. We'd rather have a gray mark or a tie or a push than a red mark any day. Another projection, which is going to be FanDuel Research, you're going to look at this projection and say, man, that's a lot better. 6.5 3-point attempts is the projection according to FanDuel Research's player projection tools. So most of these have him at 5 or better when it comes to the 3-point attempts. So I'm leaning toward the over. Hopefully Dante DiVincenzo gets back to being aggressive offensively and especially from beyond the arc. But hey, that's it for me. I'm done talking. You guys let me know what your favorite player prop is of the day. If you're feeling confident in one and you want to try to win a free month of Dub Club, just leave that comment down in the comment section below with your favorite player prop. If I randomly choose it in the next video and it happens to be a winning pick, then your name will be featured for a free month of Dub Club. I want to bless you. I want to hook you up. I want to get you in the community and out of those lousy group texts that you're in with your friends. If that sounds good to you, well, then I'll see you down in the comments section below. Good luck on all your picks, plays, and parlays. We'll catch you in another video real soon. Peace.